their perspective on it, including Representative Carlos Gimenez of Florida, serves the 28th District, also serves on the Homeland Security Committee. Representative, thanks for your time.
It's my pleasure.
How did you vote yesterday, and what did you think of the results?
I voted for Kevin McCarthy. That's where I've been for the last 2 weeks, and so I will continue to vote for Kevin McCarthy. And actually, I thought there were more no's to Jim Jordan than I thought. We thought there would be probably 7 to 15 that would be voting for somebody else, and then ended up being 20. So at 11 o'clock, I just don't think that is going to change much. I don't think that Jim Jordan's going to pick up any votes. He actually may lose votes, and so 11 o'clock would be pretty indicative of which direction this thing is going to go.
Will you continue to vote for Kevin McCarthy at 11 o'clock and onward?
Yes, I will, because, you know, the last time we had a vote count, Kevin McCarthy got 210 votes. And Steve Scalise dropped out knowing that he couldn't do it. I don't think that Jim Jordan's going to be able to do it. I think for the good of the country, they ought to bow out and then urge Kevin McCarthy to come back and get all of their followers to vote for Kevin McCarthy. Like I said, we had 96% of the conference vote for Kevin McCarthy. It took 4% of our conference and 100% of the Democrat conference to, kick him out of the speakership. That's something that we need to rectify. That's why I'm still with Kevin McCarthy. He's our best candidate. Nobody has come forward, either Scalise or Jordan. They have no plan that's any different than Kevin McCarthy, and so if that's the case, why don't we just go back to our leader, and that's Kevin McCarthy.
I was going to ask you if you wanted to elaborate on why a no on Jim Jordan.
A no, because I'm voting for Kevin McCarthy. A yes on Kevin McCarthy, because what happened was, some people call it a drive-by shooting. You got 4% of our conference telling 96% of our conference what they have to do, and I just don't think that's right. And so, Kevin McCarthy is our leader. It's obvious when we're in conference that he's our leader. We need to get back to our leader, undo the harm that's been done for the last 2 weeks by those 8 Republicans and the 208 Democrats that voted along with the 8 Republicans.
If that's the support you have, has Kevin McCarthy told you personally that he wants the job back?
No, he hasn't. But what he has said all along is that he will follow the will of the conference. And that's what guides me. The conference needs to come to that realization. I think we have, that really he is our leader and we need to get him back. But I understand why he did what he did. But, this conference, this Congress, this country needs him back. And if we can, I think we can get him and try to convince him to come back, because he's always said he will do the will of the conference.
Is there a place in your thinking, or maybe other Republicans as well, of this idea of expanding the current powers held by Patrick McHenry?
Yes, there is. Look, regardless, we need to make sure that we get back and start operating. And so there are, I think there are a couple of bills, resolutions on the floor that are Republican resolutions to do just that. As we try to iron out how we're going to move forward, if it takes a day or two more, we need to get the House open. We need to go back to the business of the people. And so, yeah, I would be very receptive to something like that.
You don't think there's an appetite for a multi-stage vote like we saw in January?
I'm sorry, say that again?
You don't think there's going to be an appetite amongst Republicans for a multi-day vote like we saw in January that put Kevin McCarthy in the position in the first place?
No, I don't think there's an appetite for that. I think that Jim Jordan will get an indication pretty quickly whether it's going to be successful or not. Steve Scalise didn't even put us through a floor vote. He knew that he was going to get there. Maybe Jim Jordan's going to take him a little while longer to figure that out, but I just don't see a path for Jim at this time. I could be mistaken, but at this point, I'm voting for Kevin McCarthy, and I know that a lot of the people that voted yesterday for somebody else are going to stick with their votes, and I think we actually may pick up some. So, again, I think we need to move on, and I think both Steve and Jim need to try to talk to Kevin, get him back, and get all their supporters to get back. Like I said, Kevin already had 210 votes. He's closer than anybody else. And I think that's what we need to do. And if it's not Kevin, then we need to find a consensus individual member of Congress to be the next speaker. That's what we need to do.
Is there a standout in your mind as far as who that consensus person might be if it's not Kevin McCarthy?
Well, I hate to poison anybody since I'm one of the no votes, and so I don't want to do that to anybody. There are plenty of very talented people here in Congress that have the capacity to be the speaker. I think it needs to be a consensus, not just one individual nominating somebody. I think we need to come to as well. Again, to me, that's Kevin McCarthy. He has the most votes by far of anybody in our conference, and we also need to reopen the House. So I'll be pushing that initiative also.
Representative, the president is in Israel. What message do you think it sends by him being there, and what's the message should he deliver to both for all involved there?
Well, the message should be that that America is watching, that America doesn't want to be involved, but we are with Israel. This Congress is very much bipartisan support for the state of Israel. That is our strongest ally in the region. They're a beacon of democracy in that region, and we need Israel, to survive and to thrive. And so, I'm with Israel. I understand exactly why they're doing what they're doing, and I fully support those efforts. And I think the president needs to convey that also to not only Israel but to all of the countries in that region.
You're on the Armed Services Committee. What's the scope of U.S. armaments, manpower, et cetera, being sent there, and should more be sent there?
I don't have specific. I haven't been briefed specifically on what's there. I know that we have a carrier strike force that's in the area. I know that there are Marines that come along with that carrier strike force, and so they're combat ready, and they're always combat ready. I would hope that we don't have any boots on the ground. I think that the Israelis have always taken pride in fighting their own wars. All they need is material help from the United States, and so whatever material help from the United States they need, I'll certainly support that because, again, they're our strongest ally. We need to back Israel. I've always been with Israel. I will always stand with Israel.
As far as that support, we had Representative Pocan on, and one of the things he did talk about leading up there is more humanitarian aid being sent from the United States. Is that something you could support?
Oh, absolutely. Look, they're trying to get all of the civilians to leave the northern part of Gaza, and I guess they're shepherding them down to the southern part. The last thing we want to do is see people, suffering without food or water, and so or shelter. So we need to provide as much humanitarian help as we can, while at the same time giving Israel the help it needs in order to wipe out Hamas. And in this, we need to wipe out Hamas. The only way to stop this in the future is to eliminate and destroy Hamas. I've seen the images of what they did, what they perpetrated. That was Israel's, 9/11 actually, multiplied because of the size of their population. And so they can't have this anymore. And, I've been to Israel 3 times. Every once in a while you hear air sirens and you've got rocket attacks. You just can't live like that. I've been to Saradot, where they have bus shelters. The bus shelters, they double as bomb shelters. Can you imagine that? If that was the case here in the United States, we wouldn't put up with it. And they've been putting up with it for so many years. It's time it comes to a stop.
It's reported, Congressman, that the House Foreign Affairs Committee Chairman Mike McCall is drafting legislation for an authorization of the use of military force should things widen between Israel and Hamas. It's not out there, but is that an idea that you can support?
Yes, I can. Only when necessary, and that gives the president the authority to exercise whatever options that are necessary in the area to protect American interests, protect American lives, and also help our allies.
Representative Carlos Gimenez of Florida joining us, as many legislators during the course of the morning, to talk about events happening on Capitol Hill and internationally. Representative, thanks for your time.